Do you ever get fed up with being treated like a kid? Want to be treated like a grown-up? Not if you were a Victorian kid, you wouldn't, because Victorian children could be punished like adults. One boy told this story to a newspaper after he'd been arrested.
I was born near Cambridge. My mother died when I was 5, and my father married again. My stepmother hated me, so I ran away. I lived by begging and sleeping rough and made my way to London. There I'd sleep on the doorsteps or anywhere to give me a little shelter. I suffered terribly from hunger, and at times I thought I'd starve. I got crusts, but I can hardly tell how I lived. One night, I was sleeping under a railway bridge when a policeman come along and asked me what I was up to. I told him I had no place to go, and he said I had to go with him. Next morning, he took me to the court and told the judge there were always a lot of boys living under the bridge. They were young thieves, and they gave a lot of trouble. I was mixing with them, so I was given 14 days in prison. I'd carry on begging and go from workhouse to sleep. I'm unhappy, but I have to get used to it.
If you were like that boy, you may have wanted to make some dishonest money. Of course you don't, but if you did... All right, ladies and gentlemen, here for your entertainment and instruction, or a few tips and tricks for you little beggars. First, let me present the shivering dodge. On a cold morning, dress in your thinnest clothes and stand on the street corner. Start shivering and pleading for money to buy a warm coat. And top tip, take a warm handkerchief and cough into it as if you're ill. The shivering dodge was a favourite of Shaking Jemmy. He went on shivering so long he couldn't stop himself, even when he was in a warm house. Thank you. And then we have the Lucifer dodge. Take a tray full of matches, called lucifers, to sell on the street. As a rich gent walks past, spill them, as if he's knocked them out of your hand. Scrabble on the ground to pick them up and howl your heart out. Top tip, if the gent doesn't give you money, then other people passing by may cough up a coin or two. Top tip number 2, get your little friends to gather up the matches and try it again. And again, and again. Next, we have the tea and sugar dodge. Here's what you do. Sit on the curb with 2 empty packets. Sob the following. Sob. My mum sent me for tea and sugar, but a nasty boy emptied them into the gutter. Have a stooge there who can help you out a bit. They could say, and that was his ma's last shilling. He daren't go home. Top tip. Scatter a little tea and sugar in the gutter to make the story look good. Now, this dodge has been known to earn up to 18 shillings in one morning, when many working men don't make 10 shillings a week. And that brings us to the Scaldrum dodge. Cover your bare arms and legs with soap, rub vinegar into the soap, and the mess looks like ugly blisters. Or strap a leg up under your jacket to make it look as if you've lost one. Top tip, if the soap on your leg doesn't work, then stick soap in your mouth till you froth and foam. Oh, and top tip 2, if looking ill didn't help, then pretend to choke on a piece of dry bread. Take money to get ale to wash the dry bread from your throat. If everything else fails, then try this really disgusting one. The bird bread dodge. Find a garden where someone has thrown stale bread out for the birds. Pick it up and begin to eat it. Top tip, it is best if the bread is covered in maggots. Do not shake them off before you eat the bread. After all, they'll make a nice bit of meat in your sandwich. Thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, begging was against the law, but it was hard to stay out of trouble because there were some pretty odd laws in Victorian times. Here's a list of crimes. Can you tell which are true and which are false?